Today's show is brought to you by Speaking Finance. If you're looking for some finance for a renovation on the back shed, maybe a new bathroom fit out, or just anything around the house, make sure to hit up Speaking Finance for all of your loan needs. Damo, you're getting a new property soon. Maybe you're going to need to renovate it. Do you need a loan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Gem and I just bought a property on Saturday, and it does need a little bit of work, so I might be reaching out to Speaking Finance to assist me with that.
Perfect. If you're looking for any sort of loan, hit up Speaking Finance. That's speakingfinance.com.au. All right, everybody, let's start the show.
I mean, it's nothing new that I'm the one who's carrying this podcast anyway, so...
Simply must play.
There's nothing more likely than a bloke who takes a hanger missing a set shot straight after it.
Yeah, give it a listen.
Acting as if it's like a normal thing to do with salt and vinegar chips.
I'm in a mood, Rob.
How is this the little bonus content with Kevin Sheedy?
Who are we playing this week?
Who cares?
I reckon I'm 0 for 3 with creating segments at the moment.
For the love of God, don't lose to Carlton.
Parish continues to fly. Cameron gets all the coverage. The rain falls down and the Bombers get trounced at the Cattery. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you. And joining me in studio is Damo and Joel. Damo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad for a Monday, actually.
Yeah.
And after a loss. But, Joel, yourself, how are you feeling?
Probably a little worse.
Bring that mic in, mate. Bring that mic in nice and close. Get up cozy. You're in the studio. There we go. That's
it's
better.
a little bit different than doing it on Zoom. Yeah, I was a little bit dusty this morning after a big weekend. Obviously, the footy had nothing to do with it, but
Sunday as well.
Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. It took me a while to get home on Sunday still, so
We like that.
now.
We like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Boys, let's jump straight into the game. Friday night. Look, it wasn't great. Let's be frank. It wasn't great. Plenty of issues to pick apart. We could talk about inside 50s. We could talk about pressure. We could talk about kids. We could talk about transition. We could talk about Channel 7.
Should we just start with Will Ham?
Will Ham, you mean Braden Ham?
Yeah, him. I'm already starting to forget his name because he's gone from my memory. I hate him.
You're not happy.
I hate him.
Hate's a strong word.
Hate him.
Hate's a strong word. I've always been a big... Look, I've stuck up for Piglet a lot, and I've always thought there was something there, but... this isn't just him. I think as a whole, we seemed very undersized, and I think that is because we are a young team. But I felt small. I felt weak watching that game.
His size doesn't factor in his ability to kick, his ability to actually fumble. Everything fumbles, or even holding his ground. No one will be near him, and he'll just fall over.
Yeah, I feel like we've given enough chances for him to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's...
The height's got nothing to do with it, or his build. For a guy who's close to the ground, can't pick a footy up.
Harsh. Off the top.
I'm ready to go.
Straight off the top. You're straight off the top. You're delisting blokes. I want to talk about this. I think is the biggest issue from Friday night is, and we've seen it this season. It's the inability to stem the flow against sides who are just winning the footy. And I went and just put this together. So that the second quarter against Geelong was our worst quarter this year. So 7 times this year we've conceded 6+ goals in a quarter. Round 11 against West Coast, they kicked 6. Round 2 against Port in the first quarter, they kicked 6-1. Round 7, third quarter against Carlton, they kicked 6 goals 2. Round 12, Richmond, the fourth quarter, they kicked 7-1. Round 8 against GWS, they kicked 7-4 in the third. Round 1 against Hawthorn, they kicked 8 goals in the third. And then on Friday night, second quarter, 8 goals 2.
All of those are bad, to be honest. That's shocking.
Exactly. And there's obviously a couple of games there where we were right in the hunt, like the Hawthorn game, the GWS game, like the Carlton game, we were pretty much in it. We won the West Coast game.
We're lucky we've even won. Did we win the GWS one?
No, that was when we lost by 3 points. So, yes, obviously we did get back on our terms and we won the game, or sometimes we lost narrowly. But if we're ever going to be a good side and we're ever going to be contending for finals and hopefully winning them and going the only way, you can't be doing this in 7 times of the games we've played this year. That's almost half our games we've done that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like with Geelong, when that happened, we won the inside 50s for the quarter as well, I'm pretty sure, in that game. So obviously getting it down there. And so I don't know if it's a defence issue or if it's an issue at the other end of the ground as well.
Potentially the inside 50s were just horrendous.
Yeah,
I think it's everywhere.
Every time we kick, there were so many times where we just had it on the wing and someone like a Kyle Langford just punted it over his shoulder and straight into Stewart's lap or someone else. It was just crazy, and we didn't have any players down there. So
so won the inside 50, 60-45. yet we lost by 41 points.
That is crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, so 29% efficiency going inside 50. Like, I think there's different ways you can look at it. Yes, there's a lot of the fact that our midfielders and half forwards and whoever it is going forward aren't very good at looking for options. There is also the thing that against a, experienced, defence that, yes, they were the runners up last year, comfortably beat our forwards. Like, there were times where just the ball went over someone's head or we saw one of our forwards like run under the ball, but there are times where it was a 50-50 and we just lost it.
Yeah. So how many goals did they kick for the game? Because 45 inside 50s, they must have been kicking one every 3 times they went in there.
They must have been so
times.
efficient.
It felt like that. Hold on, I'm just bringing it up right now. I probably should have had that ready to go. Talk amongst yourselves.
Sorry
just
for
in
challenging
regards
on
to
the stats.
just in regards to those
15 goals, there you go.
1 in 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And to be a good football team, 4 quarters. That's what a good football teams do. They just play consistently 4 quarters every game. And what you've listed 7 games there where we've conceded 6 or more goals in a quarter. So
Yeah, and look, it comes with the territory. It comes with being a young side. It comes with being an experienced side. It comes with having some new players. It comes with injuries. It comes with all the different factors. But it's just another bit of a lesson for us and a bit of a reminder of where we're at. I know there's a lot of people who, it was a spirited loss to Melbourne. Some people felt hard done by. We were definitely in the hunt in that game, and then obviously wins prior to that. People are going, yeah, maybe we could sneak in a final. It was a good run home. But for me, I think that's curtains for now. Where do you guys sit?
I always thought it was curtains anyway. Plus, I want the pick anyway.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was win one of those 2 games. We're playing against some top 4 sides. This year, we've only beaten one side in the 8, which is West Coast, who now, after this weekend, you go, Jesus, they're going to fall out pretty quickly. But we had to win one of Melbourne. Geelong looked like Melbourne was the one that was our chance. We didn't do it. We've got a nice run home, but it's setting up that we're going to have to win 6 out of 7.
Still play Adelaide and North again?
Yeah, so...
But we're a game and a half out of the 8.
So we're a game and a half out. I'll jump ahead. I've got this down here in the run sheet somewhere.
We probably won't make the 8, but we can still linger around the spot where we are right now in that 12 to 13 range, and I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, we don't want to lose another final. I don't want to give bait to everyone else to give us more shit about losing another final and it being 17 or 18 years. Let's maybe get there next year with a better team with more of a chance of having to win one.
Yeah.
And you never know, like a better pick could come in handy, potential trade.
Yeah, so 2 winnable games coming up against Adelaide and North, then 2 pretty much do or die games against both Sydney clubs, Giants and the Swans.
Yep.
What I expect to be a loss to the Bulldogs.
Again.
What's
the record on that?
It's been a while.
It's like an average loss of 100 points.
It seems that way. A late season loss to the Bulldogs is just what happens now. And then the final 2 are both pretty winnable against Gold Coast and North. So it's like, yeah, we've got the 4 of the bottom sides there, but you look at the way the Swans and the Giants played on the weekend. Like, I know we had narrow games against them, but where we are, the young guys tiring, just the form we're in. Like, I can't be confident going to those games.
Yeah, the young players definitely do look a bit tired on their feet. But that's expected of them, and they've got a big role this year, so they're probably getting a little bit tired quicker than normal than first year players and the younger players that didn't play last year. So I don't know.
It's interesting when you brought that stat up for the goals by quarter, Rob, because I was thinking the same thing, right? Where tiring through the season, but looking at this, rounds 2, round 7, rounds 1, round 8, it's been consistent through the whole year. So, it's a bit of tiring, but it also seems to be pretty big lapses in concentration for at least a quarter every game.
It's crazy considering the inside 50s. It's just shocking. The Hawthorn one's pretty damning though.
Yeah, well, look, that round 1 game was chaos.
Look, we did play Geelong on the weekend, and we did play them down at the Cattery. Like, if you think we're going to win that game, then
yeah, exactly. And like, I was really impressed the way we started the game. Like, we were on top of them, but then they made the moves and made the matchups. They swapped some things around. They adjusted, and then obviously they just got on top of us from that point. Like, there are a few people who have been like, and like we've talked about, been like, we got to rest the kids, but I can't remember who it was in the coverage that said it, or maybe it was post game, but. We're getting games into these guys so that when we're there, their bodies are ready, they're tough, they've got the tissue that's prepared to take a beating week in, week out, rather than, get to this point and fall down, which is what's happening. Like, is it like, all right, there are injury things where it's like, all right, maybe we need to rest a guy because he might be getting hurt, but like, is there actually a benefit to putting Nick Cox in the twos for a week or Archie Perkins in the twos for a week? Is there actually anything to gain from that rather than just playing them still? As long as they're not getting injured.
There's definitely a benefit because, the confidence is a big thing in football. Confidence is huge. I mean, who would say if Jack Watts didn't run out on the bench against Collingwood that day, he could have been a better player?
Could have been anything.
Confidence is everything. So
or didn't go to Melbourne, yeah.
Correct. So if Coxie's feeling a bit down on himself, pop him down, let him accumulate a bit of football, find his game again, and then bring him back. But there is that question mark of, we played Draper 1 week too long in the VFL and he did his ACL and we didn't see him for 14 months. So it scares me.
With Coxie, I think in particular, like he's the marks over his head, he's just a little less clean than he was in the first sort of 9 or 10 rounds. I think he's just dropping it a little bit more. So going back there, we'll probably dominate. I think would be a good thing, at least for a week.
Yeah, and he did, in the past 2 weeks where he's been poor, he has played against some of the best wingmen in the comp.
Who do you have on the weekend? Isaac Smith.
Smith/Menegola, depending on which side he was on. And then obviously the week before he had Langdon and Brayshaw, who were, again, who were playing career best footy.
Let him play against Adelaide.
Yeah, exactly.
That could bring him back up.
And that's the thing. Who's coming in? There's no one there.
That's the issue.
It's not. We're at this point in the season now. It's like, all right, we're probably not going to make finals. Yes, people, I know technically we still can, but the reality is it's probably not going to happen. We're not in a scenario like, hey, let's play the kids. We're already playing the kids.
Yeah, the depth is.
There's no more kids to play. Like Tom Hurd's not ready. I don't think Josh Ayres ready or Cody Brown. I don't think any of these boys are ready yet.
Unless you want to see Ned Carl.
We could bring Ned. I mean, Ned might.
Carl Fahan.
Why not?
Same, but different.
Yeah, I mean, what's the
Wouldn't it be good if we could bring Mosquito in, just inject a little bit of energy? That'd be so nice right now, seeing him run around.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Moz. Like, I don't know if he's
back home.
He's back home. Obviously, the net
might be a bit heavy as well.
Yeah, bit heavy. Like ACL, I think he's a fair way back.
Yeah,
which is disappointing. So that's what it is. One for you, Lloydie said in one of the many shows that Lloydie does, he says that Paco doesn't lower his eyes enough and look for his teammates. What's your thoughts on this? And let's talk about just that game, but as a collective, so he had a goal assist and six.
Had this conversation with Mert at Saturday or potentially Sunday morning at 2 a.m. This exact thing. Mert actually sent a tweet back to Lloydie saying, "Let him fucking kick him because he's the only one that bins him." So to be fair, we need confident players. Let Paco do his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we've got one in the team who does it. So, if it was everyone, it'd be a bit of a different story.
We've got Tipper, who is the best kick in the league, and he gives them off. I want him to get greedier.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm happy for him to back himself in and go for it when it's there. But you shouldn't feel afraid to pass it when it's there.
Do we know which ones he's talking about? Because
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
It really depends on every situation. I mean, the ones where he's running out of the middle and he's on the run, I'm happy for him to kick him because I know the house would go down. It would bring the team's morale up and about confidence. It's important, those goals.
Yeah, and I guess when your forward line probably isn't as dominant as other teams are. So the thing I was thinking about is what Dusty does for Richmond, where it's you'll see Dusty burst out, but some of his passing when he goes inside 50 is phenomenal. The little dinky kicks that he can do to people.
Yeah, the angled kicks he does, 45 degrees.
Crazy good. Paco doesn't do that. So, if our forward line was as potent as, say, Richmond has been in the past years, maybe you'd probably look for guys more often. But
potentially.
But he might subconsciously be like, Kale's not getting near it today. I'm just going to fucking go for it.
Yeah, Kale's pretty stiff at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe if we give him a 4th year, he'll start passing it a little bit more. Maybe it's a negotiation tactic.
Yes,
we're actually talking the other night. We need to have a clause in the contract,
per passes.
No, stepping on the scales.
I don't know if he could do that. I'm sure the Players Association wouldn't agree with that.
Surely.
Just put one under the doormat or something like that, just a little bit sus. So when he's dusting his boots off
on the way,
get a reading.
Jake, can you stand over there a second?
I'm worried that if we pay him the money, he's just going to go home and pop his feet up and get the PlayStation on.
I don't look. There's rumors flying around, but I don't think he's going to get. I don't think the money's the thing. I think he's
the year. It's
the year. So I think from what I've read is it's between a 5 to 650. Max 7 is the sort of ballpark that we're getting. We're not talking 8s, 9s here or more. It's more
just give it to him then. I'd give him that.
Yeah, is it are you going to offer him the 4th year? And like we've spoken about it, you should do a thing where if he stays fit, plays X amount of games per year or whatever the average is, or hits a certain number, he can trigger that extra year. Because that's the doubt.
Maybe he has to get his chest tattoo removed. Maybe that should be the clause in the contract. We'll give you the extra amount, but you got to get rid of that thing.
It's got to go. Not a fan?
Nah, I've got tattoos and I don't mind it, but I think that sums up Jake Stringer outside of footy. As much as I love him, that's all him.
It is pretty messed up.
It's pretty rank. You spoke about Kyle Hooker there. I'm really flying around the order of this run sheet, but
No, go for it.
look, Kale's heart and soul. Let's not forget that.
So heart and soul.
Kale's heart and soul of this football club is given more than most. We love Kale to death. It's been a talking point of mine throughout this year, and I've mentioned it almost every few weeks since the start of the year about will he go around again? And the last 3 weeks, the pendulum has really swung away from can he go? Because the first half of the year, like, it's funny, him and like Tex Walker, another guy who's an older guy playing forward, moving so well, doing all these crazy things, and now it's getting to the hard part of the season. It's getting cold. Everyone's a bit tired, and you're starting to go,
He's really struggling.
I just don't know. I just don't know if he can go around again anymore. I'm really doubting it.
And it happens quickly. That's the thing.
It's so quickly.
They always talk about it. It's when you know, and it kind of feels like it's getting to that. But I think we've obviously got to give him the opportunity to rediscover his form because he was dominating. Until around 6 or 7.
I think he goes another year unless there's someone coming to the club.
I'm assuming they would be going to look for someone.
I think they're trying, but if they can't, we've got to keep him because
who else?
there's no one else to play.
Yeah, well, that's
And then
it.
you're just going to ruin the development of someone like Jones if Jones has to play on the number 1 key defender every week, etc., etc.
Yeah, you need someone there who's almost a decoy forward to give Jonesy that opportunity. I mean, Peter Wright's obviously going to be down there, but
Unless Hooker gets offered a 1-year contract at a team that's pushing for a flag and they want a key defender or key forward.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even past years, like remember when he first started playing forward. Even then, he would still have some really bad games occasionally.
Yeah,
like
he did.
some people forget that. Like he'd have games where he'd like try to soccer off the ground, the goal screen, and miss the footy, or like he'd drop a mark or things, and just not have a great day. And it's that sort of thing. People are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe how bad he was." And it's kind of like, no, like he's a bit old. He's having a bit of a tough night. None of our forwards really did well.
Like he's been getting to the contest though. He's dropping things that he would have clutched 5 or 6 weeks ago.
Mind you, we did just play Geelong and Melbourne. So
Yes.
probably like 1 and 2 best defenses in the league at the moment. So
Just about, yeah.
we'll see how he goes on the weekend. Who knows? We're probably jumping the gun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not saying this isn't signed, still delivered papers for me. I'm just sort of saying that
And he's been such a loyal servant to
I'm
the club.
feeling West Swing. Well, that's the thing. Like
I mean, we offered to trade him back home to Freo at one stage for like first round pick or pick 1, and he said no
yeah,
when we were grim.
when we were real grim, when it was super dark.
So
I mean, it's still dark, but it was very dark then.
we've been grim his whole career.
It's been poor Kale. That's the thing. Like the guy, it's like him and Hurls, and like Heps to an extent. But it's like they've stuck through a lot of shit. So you just kind of be like, I don't want to dog the boys.
Yeah, you've got to give him whatever you've got to send him out the right way.
Yeah.
It's not a Bell Chambers, no final game situation. This is a completely different.
Well, I feel like that's why Bell Chambers is now the ruck coach because they felt bad.
Potentially.
There's no substance to what I've just said there. That's just me totally speculating.
I've heard that they approached Kale Hooker at the end of last year and they wanted him to hang the boots up, and because he had a contract there, he said, "Nah, I'm going."
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now he doesn't have a contract, so that's why it's a discussion.
question
It's
mark.
not like a thing of like, oh, he's playing bad, but we've still got an extra year in his deal. Like, this is it. If he's going to get offered on the deal, it's not going to be for a lot. He himself, I think it was last year, the year before, we had all the hip problems and like lower back problems. Like, he's had some issues. So like you said, when you know, he might just get to, the second last game, head up to Metric on the Gold Coast and go, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
This is enough for me.
Yeah. Well, I think also like the way that we're trying to play defence now and like the zones and structures, we really need everyone on the field to be a moving piece of that defence. Otherwise it falls apart. And he's obviously not very mobile or can't contribute to that very well. Like as soon as the ball gets past him, he's not chasing anyone.
No.
Yeah.
He's trying, but
exactly.
it's not working.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's just him and 7-seater don't have a lot of mobility, the turning circle's pretty big.
Large turning.
Very big turning circle. The arc's quite big, a 3-point turn quite quickly
Seven-seater
becomes
semi-trailer.
It's a 12-point turn, it's one of them. So
That Suez Canal situation. I
yes,
think.
yeah, it is a bit of a Suez Canal.
Another man person here. James Stewart.
Yeah. Geez, he had a stinker, poor Jim.
He's had a couple stinkers.
Yeah, I actually thought he played well against Melbourne. I thought he played pretty well against Melbourne. Look, he got isolated a lot, and that's what good teams do. Like Geelong do it very well. They find a way to isolate a defender one-on-one. But what separates the great defenders is like you think about our games, say when Stephen May was one-on-one with one of our players like Kale Hooker and beat him every single time.
Yep.
That's the separation here. And Stuz has had very, little time playing down back. But yeah, pretty tough night when a bloke kicks 3 on you, then goes off injured, and then the next bloke comes onto you for a bit and kicks 6. So, although, Hawkins was on a few people and, was roving our own ruckman.
Yeah, that's a rough night.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough.
Is he a chance of having a crack forward again at some stage, do we think?
I'm going to say no. I mean, the only way is if it's a scenario like you said, where we need someone to fill a hole. Let's say next year, let's say Kale hangs up the boots. We don't, for whatever reason, go after anybody who's ready-made, whether they be $1 million man or just someone who's okay. Yeah, maybe potentially they'll go up forward again. We just need a target. But look, he's athletic. I think he does a lot of things right. But
and he's still new to the role. So much to learn.
I know
he's had a lot of injury setbacks. As well.
And I saw a few people on Essendon Twitter where I occasionally dwell sometimes. And
You didn't manage to make your way to Reddit, did you?
No, I wasn't in Essendon Reddit, but Essendon Twitter is just as dark sometimes. But I went on there. I just like to see what people are saying and just have a read. And on this Sash account, it's only Essendon chat and some really other weird shit, but mostly Essendon chat. But there's a few people who were just calling for his head and be like, you should never play again. I'm just like, man, he had a stinker. Let's be real, but I think you got to keep giving more games into him. So anyway.
That's fair.
Do you want to talk about how Channel 7 commentary is the worst thing to ever happen to the AFL?
Oh, it's so hard to listen to.
Look, I actually didn't have the volume on for the game.
You're so lucky.
But just in general, just hate Channel 7 commentary.
It's so bad. I've never seen so much of a Geelong love-in.
Ridiculous.
They love and this is the first time I've seen this. I've watched Geelong games against where they're playing St Kilda or whoever, and there's the obsession with some of these Geelong players with Channel 7. I don't get it. Who is in the Channel 7 box that is a Geelong supporter?
But it's not even just that. It's even every time Nick Cox gets a football, someone says, the 200 centimetre winger and his sister IMG model block. What the hell? Why is that always getting brought up?
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah, irrelevant. They spoke about Jeremy Cameron's hamstring there would have been, in 120 minutes of coverage, 75 minutes dedicated to that hamstring. You said it once, you said it twice. We don't need to hear it again. It was shocking. And also, I can't stand the Selwood love either. I get champion of the game in some respects, but he's a dog. He always does dog things. He's always doing stuff to, hit people behind the play or when they're on the ground or whatever. I don't know if you're a champion when you do that sort of stuff consistently.
What's your go-to commentary lineup?
I'm always of the current crop or just ever. Look, I was always a big fan of the mid-noughty Channel 10 lineup, your
Stephen
Quartermain, Tim Lane, Hutto. I know
and Robert.
Robert Walls was special comment,
and he hated Essendon.
Yeah, not Robert Walls. I know we roast him for what he does in the MRP, but Michael Christian was actually quite entertaining as a commentator on Channel 10. People may or may not remember. He was quite good.
I'd more prefer the committee and Bruce.
Committee, yeah.
But then you've also got get that Triple M team from a few years back where you've got Billy Brownless, Gary and Brayshaw. They were great. I the tip rat calling and stuff like that. That was peak.
I like those guys. I like Brian and JB when it's the radio. Yeah. Because when I can't see the game, it's entertaining. But when I can see the game and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Shut up.
I just want to watch the game.
Getting the names wrong.
Yeah, I feel like radio calling and TV calling is different. And I feel like there's a few commentators who've come from one or the other and then gone to the other medium and can't quite do it.
Yeah.
The guys on 7 though, who's I think he did the Thursday night game and he does the VFL's quite good. What's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know. He's been popping up a bit more regularly, but either way, he's okay. But anyway, Hutto all the time. Hutto's the best. Hutto's king. Keep Hutto. Yes or no, will Dons play finals?
No.
No. Yeah,
Okay, that's a
I don't
collective
think so.
no from all of us. Do we have any more negative or just other discussion before we talk about how great Darcy Parish is?
Or could go back to Ham.
You want to go more on Ham?
Rip the ham off the bone, go on. Send
Nah,
it.
I actually just can't.
Slice him up.
Every time the ball is near him, I'm just like, no, fuck, no. And then he just fucks it up. And he's just like, oh, shit, I saw that coming. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I overreacting?
Oh, look, I know he had a bad game. I know he got caught a couple of times. Like, look, he's had a couple of really bad games this year. One of them you called out. It's funny, like he kicked the winner against Freo.
Yeah,
but
and
he
I was dirty. He kicked it.
Yeah, because he was garbage and he got dropped. But I don't know. There were a couple of games earlier in the season where I'm like, maybe Ham's got something.
It was just the one. It
But-
was the first game against Hawthorn. He accumulated like 25, but he had like 7 clanger kicks that game. He can't kick.
Yeah.
He's just...
Yeah.
It seems like a placeholder.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
more than anything.
And I think, when you're lacking in the physical department and you're not able to bring any kind of heat, whether it be with his tackle's not that bad, but like there's nothing in the air you can offer unless it's a perfect kick and he's uncontested. You got to be like, he's not Caleb Daniel. Caleb Daniel gets away with it. When Caleb was younger, now he's like, a brick shit house. But when he was younger, he got away with it because his kicking was unbelievable. Braden doesn't do that.
Yeah, and I feel like his decision making on his kicking is really poor as well. Like some of the games where I've actually attended, and you can see there'd be like a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1, and he always would kick it to like the 2-on-1, and you're like, well, fuck, well, we're not gonna win that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
What do you guys think of Tom Cutler?
He was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I didn't notice him.
Who was the sub?
Guelphy.
Okay.
I didn't notice Cutler, which is both a positive and a negative. It's a positive because I didn't notice him do anything wrong, but it's a negative because I didn't notice him.
I noticed the 12 every time. I'm like, oh, who's playing?
Yeah.
I was excited about him when I first saw him come. I thought it was going to be a good pickup, but he just really hasn't come on.
Because he was really good at Brizzy for like his first year or his second season, and then he just died off.
Big frame.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping he'd be the sort of galloping winger with a big long kick, but he just never turned into that.
Yeah, he seems to play pretty good in the VFL. I just can't handle the step up in intensity.
Yeah, he's lacking. What do we think about
Stop yelling at me, Devon.
Devon?
Controlled the aggression. I reckon there was a few times you could see on the coverage where he wanted to clean someone up and didn't after the kicks. So
Yeah.
I don't think he
was
gave
alright.
away any
Yeah,
free kicks.
week one of anger management's clearly helping him out.
Which one's that?
Orange one.
Stop yelling at me, Devon.
That's the best button you've ever made.
Yeah, I am happy with that one. Anyone else before we go straight into the pros?
I just hate Geelong. I just can't
Oh,
stand them.
and
They're smug.
The
They're-
umpires. Oh, the intentional fucking...
Hold on a second, I'll grab my phone. Keep going.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. The umpiring was just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, there was, 3 or 4 intentionals in the first
quarter.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. Like, it's where the football...
It's a sloppy night.
Yeah.
it's
I've
not
had a
even
moment
those.
reflecting on the weekend, actually, just because people were calling me out on it as, like, do Essendon complain about the umpires too much as a club? Or
feel
do we
like-
just get a rough run?
Because I feel like we do complain too much, but I'm like, we do cop it.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like it's justified. Like I was trying to
let
put
fucking
myself
Dane
in other
Rampy
people's
climb a
shoes.
post again, and I bet you they'll call a free kick.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I know. I think we've just had a history in the last sort of few years. We've had like some really close games where like there's been enough of them now where you're just like, how is this still happening?
Yeah.
How are these awful calls? And like they're always the ones where like in the heat of the moment, like there were some moments in the Melbourne game where in the heat of the moment I was like, that's a disgrace. I went back and watched the tape and I was like, maybe it wasn't that bad.
It's that bad that when I'm having a couple drinks, I think there's like an AFL Illuminati, and they're still dirty at us for the drug saga, and they're just like, nah, like
Well,
whispering
mate,
in the umpire's ears.
we sacked Dan Richardson. Now he works at the umpiring department.
Oh, well, they're
that
stuff
doesn't
that
help.
up.
Hold on. I need to get the Twilight Zone theme up. Let's get some.
When
Don's
was that?
conspiracy
Because
going.
I reckon it started Anzac Day when Danaher tackled that bloke. I can't remember who he tackled.
Hoskin Elliott.
Hoskin Elliott. And the whole game stopped. I've never seen a whole stadium stop like that.
Don's conspiracy.
The music started playing.
Yeah. Dan Richardson.
Don't stare directly into the umpire's eyes.
Yeah. Black helicopters. Oh, here we go. Yeah, exactly. So, I know what you mean. But yeah, I felt like we did. I guess Essendon supporters were a bit of a laughing joke after the Melbourne game. But like it was it was garbage. It was garbage.
It's all garbage.
Copping heat from Melbourne supporters, it's such an unfamiliar thing.
Shocking, isn't
We
it?
have lost to them a few times in the past, but they were still a much worse team.
They did lose to a top-up team, so we could always bring that back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't got a home ground. They haven't got a training base. Where are Casey? They're not even there. They're training at Gosh's paddock. It's a public oval.
Yeah.
Garbage club.
Eddie's got you on his finger, Melbourne. You suck.
I've got another con, actually.
You got another con before we...
Rucking infringements. It's obvious that you don't block the drop of the ball to the opposition ruckman, but we just continue
To do it.
Or we do like the stiff arm one. It's like, you're a ruckman. You need to know 2 rules, basically.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I'm done. Let's go to the pros.
And also not tap it to their full forward in the goal square.
yeah.
Drives. I reckon there was the collective like hands in the eyes from every Essendon supporter going, "Oh, Sam, no,
Yeah.
Sam."
I
don't
feel
do
like
that."
I've noticed that though. He does that a little bit in the back line where he taps instead of punches when he's going to spoil. And yeah, you're leaving yourself open if you're tapping in the back 50 instead of
Definitely.
giving it a big fist.
Yeah, no, you got to launch it or take the grab. Let's talk about the pros. Darcy Parish is elite. That is confirmed.
He's there.
He's elite.
He's there.
What a rise. What a rise it's been
Yeah.
since Anzac Day when we were like, he needs to back it up. And then he keeps backing up.
And
And
I
now
love
we're like,
that everyone's on the bloody bandwagon. Not just us.
Yeah.
Everyone's on there.
You guys feel gratified because you've been calling for Parish midfield time for years. I've been
don't
listening to the
feel
pod
like-
for longer than I've
I
been
don't.
on here.
We're not the only ones though.
yeah, it's
For sure.
It's not like we were geniuses and we were like, he needs to play midfield.
Yeah.
We drafted someone who was the number 1 contested ball winner in his draft and
Yeah.
didn't play him as a contested ball winner.
Yeah, if we sat here saying Jaden Laverty's a defender, then we were geniuses. But this, I think, a lot of like Ryan said, there's a lot of people who were calling for this.
But we'll take it.
Yeah,
we'll take
absolutely.
I'll take it.
I'm crediting it to you guys.
I get 90% of the things on this show I say wrong. So
We'll take it.
every time I come on here going, dude, this guy's really good. The next week he's garbage, or vice versa. But I saw
the Ham complex, the
Yeah.
Braden Ham conundrum.
The Braden Ham conundrum. There was one of the AFL pages did a post being like, "Oh, who's the most improved player?" And it was resounding Darcy Parish. And there were people from a lot of the. I'm a Richmond supporter, I'd like to say, but Darcy Parish has been superb. And you're like,
I
oh,
always
this is
thought
good.
that when people do that, are they really Richmond supporters or is it some really nuffy Essendon supporter claiming to support another team?
I don't know. I got a friend. Shout out to Luke Humphreys from the Pies Nation podcast. Whenever Richmond lose, because he hates them so much, he goes on their page and then just posts the most wild negative thing, complaining, just being like this. Like after the Gold Coast one, I saw him being like, "Look at where this club's at. We got to sack Hardwick. Raywald's got to go." And just there's like in like all cats, the most vulgar shit. And then like people are tagging like the Nuffies page and like being like, "You're an idiot," and like. He's just baiting them. He loves it. So there might be a few of those. But
Is it his name or does he have
burner.
enigma?
A burner.
Don't mention the burner account. I just want to know.
Oh no, he does it with his actual name.
Yeah. Or like Mertz. I think Mertz is just Mert McPaco or something.
Yeah, there's a few Mert burner accounts getting about. But yeah, back to us about 28 contested possessions.
Yeah, it's huge.
He's psycho.
Unbelievable. He's just so clean in any type of condition of football.
Yeah.
He's so clean.
Who have we had that's accumulated like this ever? I don't think we've ever had anyone. Like, obviously, he's
Joe.
broken a few records, but even Joe,
Yeah,
I mean,
didn't even
was low 30s a lot of the time, and he was
Yeah.
amazing, but I feel like I haven't seen 40, and it's just
No.
insane to see it.
Well, I think when he got the 44 or 45, whatever it was,
he beat someone from like
ages ago.
I didn't even know who they were.
But there was a stat the other day, during the week, that it's the first time in consecutive weeks that two Essendon players have had 40. So him and Merritt,
Which is bizarre.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, are they that good, or is there that little help around them now? I'm not sure.
Or is it just like
I think
that-
that is that good.
That little help over the last 20 years, adapting to the modern game of AFL.
Yeah.
It's crazy that, your Jobs and your Stantons didn't rack up a lot or even
Stanton got high 30s a few
I guess
times.
Stanton.
But the fact
But he wasn't
that,
contested.
Like the 40s or even like the contested possession was 22 prior to this game, which
Yeah.
was Merritt, I think. Or
I'm not
him.
sure. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
28 contested possessions, like 28 touches in a game is a good game.
Oh, mate, if I got 28 over 4 games, I'd be happy.
I don't think I got 28 of my whole career as an amateur footy player. 13 clearances, 908 metres gained. It's funny, speaking about Melbourne people, like even though like there's like the whole Oliver Parish thing. Like, yeah, they took Clayton Oliver first. He's a gun. Everyone can see that. But now that Parish has kind of just suddenly entered that realm, you can see people being like, geez, he's actually pretty good.
And he's hotter, so...
Yeah, and he speaks English, so he's a tick. Zach Merritt was also pretty bloody good, I thought.
Zach was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his kicking's, I think, gotten a little bit better.
It's definitely improved this year.
Yeah.
His short kicking is amazing. I've been harping on about this. It's so good.
Because I don't know what it is that where he's been focusing on it more, because he's the sort of guy to identify something and work on it incessantly from what it seems. But yeah, short kicking in particular, there was that one that went a metre off the ground the whole way for 20 metres when he had someone about to smother it. I can't remember who ended up having the shot.
Having the ability to do that.
He's a smart footballer. And there's not many of those people in the comp who can just quickly think and go, yep, I'm going to do this, and then execute it. There's very few who can, and he is one of them.
You never know. Like, we're really struggling with our forward line, and we want to, bring in a key forward. His kicking ability to forwards could actually entice a key forward to come down. If they're watching our games and going, shit, I wouldn't mind Zach Merritt putting it down my throat, that could bring someone, a bit of interest. If Ben King's listening.
Ben, we know you are. This is the biggest podcast on the Gold Coast.
I don't know what we'd have to give up for him, but let's do it.
The hanger properly.
Fancy being King of Melbourne, King?
Yeah.
There's a spot on King Street for you, King.
We'll take him.
Yeah, because Max King's definitely not occupying that. It is exciting. Like, I know we've talked about, what do we do when these guys come back? But, like, think about what do we do about it. Think about how good our midfield's going to be. Now that we know that, we're going to be giving these two the time that they deserve in the middle. Paco can run through there. McGrath can if he needs to. Shield can if he needs to.
Caldwell as well.
Caldwell can if he needs to. Funnily enough, I've been preparing some end of season content. It's for our premium subscribers. If you're not a premium subscriber, visit thehorde.com, sign up, support the show. Something you should be doing.
Do it.
Get on there. But anyway, for our premium subscribers, when the footy season finishes, they're still going to be getting content over the off season. So I've been preparing some bit of stuff in review, blah, blah, blah. Me just talking about a few of the games. And I went back and I watched a fair bit of that round one game against Hawthorn. And I was like, gee, Caldwell can get the ball pretty well.
He can.
He's an extractor. He can't kick.
Him and Parish as extractors, they're going to be dangerous.
Yeah, bit of a 1-2 combo. And then you've got Merritt or your Paco to be a bit of a flare.
Shield running is going to be nice.
Yeah.
Bit more outside Dylan Shield with speed could be really dangerous.
Well, look, if there's one thing the last 2 weeks has definitely shown me, and yes, I know Cox is a baby and he's a project, but I feel like we need to really address the fact that we are lacking a defined wingman at the moment. And, if we're playing in big grounds, especially the G, we're going to need someone to do that. I can't think of it, but I wouldn't consider McGrath to be someone who can mark the ball very well. Is Shield good at marking?
Yeah.
Because you need to be a good one-on-one marker as a wingman.
He can kick it a long way. I know,
they can run and they can kick it and they can do that and they can get involved.
I think he's all right.
Yeah. But
I actually don't know. It's a good question.
Because you look just look at the last
two. The handball receives, isn't he?
Yeah, but look at the last 2 weeks. Look at Isaac Smith. Look at Menegola. Look at Langdon. Look at Brayshaw. They could all take marks one-on-one in a bit of a contest. They fly it back with the ball, and that's what you need to be a good wingman. I don't know if those guys can do that. Maybe they can. I just don't know. So anyway, I also thought Jaden Laverty had a good game.
He's always good,
and Ridley was good too.
Yep.
So, any more pros, boys? Otherwise, we're going to call the great man Paul Cousins.
Nah, I think I'm all pro'd out.
Yeah, give him a buzz.
All right, easy.
Stop yelling at me, Devon.
Remember that today's show is brought to you by Speaking Finance. If you need a personal loan, maybe for a new set of wheels, big or small, Speaking Finance are the guys for you. Whatever it is, from something big and bustling like Cale Hooker or small and silky like Zach Merritt, they can sort your finance needs. Visit speakingfinance.com.au. That's speakingfinance.com.au. Welcome back. It's that time again on the Monday for the VFL wrap with Paul Cousins. Paul, how are we doing?
I'm good, lads, for a Monday evening. How are we in that warm little studio?
We're good.
It is warm.
Yeah,
Very
very
good.
cozy.
How did you know?
Yeah, I should put a header in.
I'm standing outside and it's freezing, so I'm jealous.
Oh, there we go, Paul. There we go. We'll jump straight into the game, mate. Unfortunately, it was a pretty poor performance down in Geelong. How did you see it unfold?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, look, the first half was poor. There's sort of no point dodging around that. We got beaten in every aspect of the game in the first half. After half time, the performance was significantly better. We really, battled well and probably broke even in the contest. And to be honest, probably should have outscored them for the half. We sort of missed a few pretty gettable shots, but it was pleasing that the group could sort of steady after really getting a bit of a pasting in the first half. So, that was a positive, but obviously we've got to get better. So they're a good side of the Cats. It's on their home deck, and conditions were, far from ideal. But
yes.
These are all the things that you got to learn to cope with.
Definitely, Paul. Definitely. One of the positives from the day, though, was the return of Dylan Clark, who's been injured for quite some time with an ankle injury. How did Dylan's day go?
Yeah, Dill played really well, actually. He only played 3 quarters, and I think he had 25 plus in that time, and he made a real difference for us after he came on at quarter time, and was able to immediately sort of, I think the very first contest he was in, he had a sort of crunching tackle and a clearance, and set the tone for how he went about it for the day. He ran out the game well, which is really pleasing for someone who hasn't played footy in a long time. And really his injury really dragged out. Like, he was expecting to be ready by about round 1. And instead, what are we, round 15 or something? So it was one that really he struggled with and couldn't shake. So to see him so fit and moving so well and finding plenty of the pill was it was really pleasing for him. And he was like a sort of cage lion on the bench for the first quarter and desperate to get out there. So once he did, he let loose and had a really good day.
And what sort of role was Dylan playing for the day?
Inside mid. Yeah. He played inside pretty much every minute he was on. So, that real sort of bullocking inside mid. They've got a couple of really good inside mids in their VFL program. Charlie Constable's one who people are probably familiar with, who finds it about 400 times a game. So, Dill went in and was able to sort of, beef up our presence in there, along with Nick O'Kearney and Joe Atley, who both had pretty good days. But the addition of Dill's sort of bigger body and sort of attacking mindset, as in attacking at the man and the footy, really helped us to sort of start to break even in the centre contest.
Joel here, Paul. And so Nick Bryan, obviously he had to step after Flip went down early last week. How did he go on the weekend?
Yeah, he went well, Joel. Welcome, by the way, Joel. I'm told it's your first time. So.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Go easy on me.
Good to talk to you. I will. He was good, Bryza. He started a bit slowly, but he really worked his way into the game. The Cats have got Darcy Fort playing in their VFL team, who is probably been just about the form player of the VFL this season. He's been outstanding for them, and people are sort of constantly rolling their eyes about the fact that he can't get a game in their AFL side, but for whatever reason they prefer other options. But he's been outstanding at VFL level, so it was a really good challenge for Bryza, who, as I said, he started a bit slowly but really worked his way into the game, had a couple of nice sort of defensive intercept marks, was able to get on the front foot a bit, didn't sort of broke even probably in the centre bounce work and got around the ground really well. So was a good return to form for Bryza, who's had a quiet couple of weeks after a really sort of strong first half of the season. So it was good to see him find a little bit more footy and he ended up having a pretty good day.
Yeah, fantastic. And because he's obviously quite athletic, but Darcy Fort's a pretty big body as well. What was he like body on body and kind of in the contest in that sense?
Yeah, he did well. You're right. Darcy Fort's probably a bit of a more mature body, just through age more than anything. So Bryza was able to use his athleticism a bit more than the sort of the real body-on-body stuff. But certainly, he did well. He was able to match him at things like boundary throw-ins and that, where you tend to get that standstill sort of wrestle. he did pretty well. And, as I said, he had a good day.
Perfect. Now, our mid-season pick, Sam Durham, Paul, he's had a couple more games with the red sash on rather than the yellow sash this year. How did you see his day?
Yeah, he was good. Duzza, they call him.
Duzza.
Yeah, real.
Smoked a few of those in my time.
Don't mind that.
We're really working the nicknames, but no, he had a really good day. He was actually the emergency for the AFL game, which we played the curtain raiser down there, so the AFL guys were on straight after us. So it's a bit weird now with emergencies and stuff. There used to always be what we'd call a carryover emergency who wouldn't play in the VFL in case they were needed at AFL level. But because of the medical sub now, you've sort of already got an emergency sitting there. So what they sort of tend to do is they'll play a guy in the VFL who's the emergency sort of limited minutes. He won't play quite as many minutes just on the really off chance that you sort of lost two guys out of the AFL team and had to bring in both your medical sub and your emergency. So that was Sammy on the weekend. So his minutes were slightly down on what we would normally expect, but he was still able to have a really good impact. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, first impressions of him were that he's someone who hits the contest really hard, particularly for a lighter body, and he was able to do that on the weekend and find some footy himself. He moves really well and, as I said, sort of relishes that contest work. So he had a good day. He certainly didn't do his chances of AFL selection any harm, that's for sure.
Yeah, so he's obviously close to knocking on the door for a senior selection. What do you think he needs to improve on, or do you think he's pretty close?
No, I think he's pretty close. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think there's probably an element of sort of familiarity with the game plan and
the system,
and the system, and just being in our club as opposed to being at Richmond. So it's the mid-season draft is a bit of a weird one when guys come from other sort of AFL/VFL systems where they've done the entire pre-season and the first half of the season under one system, and then whack, they're suddenly in another one, which people sort of might take for granted a little bit, but it's a big change for these guys. So just learning exactly how the Essendon Footy Club, whether at VFL or AFL level, want him to play, and how his teammates play, to know where his options are going to be when he picks up the footy and that sort of thing, to know, where stuff as simple as, if you have the footy on the back flank and there's no immediate target on where do we want it kicked, as opposed to where Richmond want it kicked. So things like that are different from club to club. So, it's probably, to be honest, I don't think he needs to do a lot more from a form point of view. I think he's probably shown that enough for them to think that he's worthy of having a crack. It's probably just more been a bit of a, let him settle in and find out how we want things done. And once that's the case, I suspect he'll get a go sort of, sooner rather than later would be my guess.
Now, Paul, you did mention Nico Kearney off the top there, had another high possession game. Can you talk us a bit more detail about what kind of play he is for those who haven't seen much of him, what kind of midfielder he is, and maybe if there's anyone you could possibly compare him to?
Yeah, he's a really pure inside mid in that he's one who really attacks the contest fiercely. He's not huge, but he's a very strong body. He's very well put together, sort of strong body, who, he really relishes that sort of first contest in the centre and crashing into bodies and finding the footy that way. But once the spread goes, that's where he really sort of comes into his own. His work rate is exceptional. He gets around the ground incredibly well. He constantly presents as an option for teammates when they find the footy, and that's how he finds so much of the footy. It's a real work rate thing with Nick. He's if again, to use the sort of situation we had before, if a guy sort of gets a stop ball on the back flank and they're looking for an option, you can be almost guaranteed that Nick will be the option that presents.
Yeah.
Because he just works side to side and up and down the ground, and his running power is really a great strength of his, and as he's just his want for the footy, he really wants to go and get it, and he uses it pretty well by foot, and he's, as I said, he's not big in tall and stature. He's probably about 6 foot-ish, but
yeah.
He's certainly a pretty strong body, and he's in that sort of mid-20s age bracket. I'm not positive of how old he is. I'm guessing 24, maybe somewhere in that sort of range.
Yeah.
23, 24, where, he's got a mature body, and so he really crashes in at the contest as well. So as to sort of who he's like, I guess you'd liken him to a Darcy Parish type.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good.
Hang on,
as in the way he plays. I'm not saying he's Darcy Parish, but sort of in and under at the contest when the contest is there, and then spreads really well and really wants the footy. I mean, anyone who watches Darcy play will see that he constantly presents for the ball. He just wants the footy, So if teammates have got it on the wing, it's Darcy who's busting his ass to get out to the flank to provide the option, or get around the back and provide that overlap run or whatever it might be. So Nick's a bit that way in that he really wants the footy. He's a good guy to have the footy in his hands. He makes good decisions. So that's the type of player he is. I'm certainly not saying he'd come in and be in Brownlow contention if we picked him up, but as Darcy is, but. Yeah, no, he's a really good sort of solid professional footballer.
Beautiful. Now, there wasn't much success for the men's teams over the weekend, Paul, but it was great to see that the VFLW side recorded their first win and they're into a semi-final, so it's a fantastic result for that program.
Yeah, I was actually just reading about the sort of machinations of all that. I think maybe they get a double chance out of the results that happened on the weekend. Now it's all a bit weird with the way the VFLW finals work, but I think because of certain results going certain ways, they actually get a double chance to make the grand final now. So
how good?
So I think they get a bit of a free crack. I think at the Pies this weekend, who are undefeated, but that won't daunt our girls at all. So they had a great win. They went out to Casey and I think they got out to a pretty big lead early, and Casey came at them, and they managed to hold on. I think win by 3 points in the end. So, for a program that won one game in its first season only a couple of years ago, to think that they'd now be sort of going into a semi with a double chance is a great credit to Brandon Major, the coach, and Charlotte, the GM there, and sort of everyone involved with that program, and Katie Leo's the president there, but the volleys, the staff, the players, they all deserve a heap of credit for sort of coming a very long way in a very short time, regardless of what happens from here.
Great result, Paul. Great result. Now, VFL men's, am I right in saying there's a bye next week?
I've got another exclusive for you. See, this is why we talk. This is why we talk, you blokes. This is what I'm here for.
Here we go.
We're actually not having a bye.
Okay.
Which we were scheduled to have because we've sort of missed a few weeks with COVID and stuff. So I haven't got any sort of rock solid details yet, but I believe we'll play Sandringham, probably at Sandringham.
Okay.
But I have no idea when because we haven't been told. So we will have a game, I believe, even though if anyone looks at the draw, they'll see a bye marked on it. I understand we'll have a game against the Zebras. So
beautiful.
St Kilda, of course. So
that'll be a better matchup, Paul, than this week. So they're 14th on the ladder, so that'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Yeah. We can only worry about us with that sort of stuff. And, we know as a group where our deficiencies have been, unfortunately, probably the AFL list has a very different demographic this year than it has in the past.
Correct.
5 or 6, which means that a couple of injuries at AFL level probably have a much bigger impact than they did a few years ago, when we had probably a lot more ready-made sort of AFL guys ready to go into the AFL. And the knock-on effect, of course, of that is that those guys aren't available to play VFL either, obviously.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That sort of very different list demographic. I mean, I guess we had, I don't know how many exactly, but maybe 10 sort of AFL listed players play on the weekend. But in that group, you've got, Hurdy and Lockie Johnson and Josh Eyre and Cody Brandon. Oh, Brandy didn't play, but
a bunch of babies.
Kean McBride, guys who just haven't played any footy, you know, and they're really sort of not experimental types, but sort of flyers, Cat B guys, that sort of thing. So it's very different to having, Michael Hartley and Matt D and Benny McNeese and these sort of guys who were sort of ready-made AFL level footballers who were pretty constantly, in the VFL program. So the simple fact of the matter is that we're a very young side from that sort of AFL perspective. And, perhaps our VFL guy, we've had a few injuries to the top of our VFL list as well. That hasn't helped. So we worry about us as opposed to sort of who we're playing. And, we want to get better, but, that'll only come with time, training together and playing together and getting to know each other. I mean, I know that sounds like we're halfway through the year, but we've still got guys pretty much every week making their debut with the program. And
for sure.
so it's still really quite a new program. So we'll get there and, we'll keep working at it.
Well, I'm pretty excited, Paul, that I can go home and tell my missus that I was part of a world exclusive on my first pod in the studio. So
this is 2 weeks in a row, isn't it? Didn't I give you an exclusive of some sort last week? Oh, no, it was a week before.
You did a few weeks ago. Yeah.
We're spoiled here. We're spoiled.
Oh, might have to call you Scoop Cousins from now on. So.
Yeah, just call me Buffhead like my wife.
All good, Paul. All good. Well, on that note, Paul, you've been very generous with your time as always, and some amazing information about the VFL program, everything that's going on there. And we'll speak to you next week, hopefully after a good result against Sandringham.
No worries, lads. Let's hope for good results across the board. Hey, the men and the girls as well. That'd be good if there were 3 wins.
For sure.
Spot on.
Sounds good.
Go Bombers.
All right. Go Bombers.
How good's Duzza?
I want Duzza in.
Duzza in. It's a big nickname. The Duz.
Yeah, it's
Kingo's going to love that. Kingo doesn't mind a cheeky Duzza.
Kingo's going to have a Duzza while Duzza and Paco are running out in the park together.
Smoking Duzzas while Smoking Ham gets pulled out as well.
If Ham Sanger went out for Duzza, I would be that happy. I'm happy now thinking about it.
Thinking about the
Ham Sanger and a Duzza. For all the tradies out there, that's Smoko for you.
Yeah, that's Smoko for you. That's a Smoko combo. And you'll be happy until a month's time when you'll be like, Duzza, I'm off him.
I've got to quit the Duzzas on 30.
Yeah,
wait until he kicks a goal and like Duzza and a bloody snag or roll.
Oh, there we go. Is there a chocolate Big M there? Doesn't a chocolate Big M always goes down?
Do you roll your own or you buy the Taylor Duzzas?
You roll your
I haven't smoked since I was like 25. Jesus. Let's wrap up the show there, boys. Bloody great as always. Thanks for coming in, Joel. How'd you go for the first time in studio?
It was a bit weird having a mic in front. I got a few nods to lean in a little closer, but I think I picked it up. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries, Damo.
You did well. Just remind everyone, we're actually still on top of Carlton on the ladder, so you can sleep easy. If you want to pray in front of your bed, swear a bit Sardi, just go for it.
Yeah, do it.
We're still ahead, whilst we are.
Yes, we are still ahead. Now, join us Thursday as we preview our game against the Adelaide Crows. If you'd like to hear that show and all of our extra bonus content, make sure you sign up to be a premium member of the show. Visit thehorde.com, follow the links, and you can sign up, or just go to any of our social media pages, click on the bio link, and it'll take you straight there through to Premium Podcast. Thanks for your support, everybody. Thanks to our sponsor. Thanks to everyone who helps us keep this show going each and every week. And boys, go Bombers.
Go Dons.
Go the Dons.